Welcome back, everyone. Let's face it, life doesn't have a straight path. And some of us have more challenges than others. And how you deal with those challenges has a lot to do with your outlook, your relationship with others, and really how successful you are. And I don't mean that really in a financial sense. I really kind of mean that in a personal sense, spiritual sense, an emotional sense. Well, I became aware recently of an organization called Beyond My Battle. And joining me today are the co-founders of this organization. This is Nell Pritchard. Hi, Nell.
Hi, how are you?
And this is Martel Catalano.
Hi.
Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
It struck me immediately when Joel contacted me that, I deal with a lot of people. I talk to people every single day. And this was an organization that just went to kind of the heart of the matter to me. It recognized that, as I was saying up front, that, people do have challenges, how they deal with those challenges, where the support systems come for them to be able to cope, how their caregivers cope. And then, you would think to yourself, all right, well, where would you go? And you go into a very interesting place. You go to art, you go to poetry, you go to those kinds of things.
Yeah.
And so I've got to ask you, and I'll ask you now, Beyond My Battle formed a couple of years ago?
Yes.
You did, okay. What's the mission?
So the mission of Beyond My Battle, it's a nonprofit organization, and it's designed to emotionally support individuals as well as their caregivers who have chronic illness and disability through coping mechanisms and stress management is our goal.
Oh, that's really well said. I do know, because we were talking before the interview, that both of you have challenges.
Yes.
And as such, you know what it's like personally to say, you doubt yourself sometimes, right? You doubt who you are, right? Talk to me a bit about that.
There's a lot of stress, including doubt, that comes with living with any kind of illness or disability. And yeah, Nell and I both definitely have firsthand experience with that, which is how we met, how we were introduced to one another about 3 years ago. And including doubt, there's fear, there's anger, there could be guilt and anxiety, all these different forms that stress might take. And it can really start to compound and create this kind of chronic stress that eventually makes you more sick than you may already have been. So that was really at the core of what, inspired Nell and I to form Beyond My Battle, that originally started as just a support group online and then turn it into the nonprofit that we now have today that offers not only support but educational resources.
We happen to be living in a time where I don't think diversity really comes to the top of mind because, I realize it's kind of a political statement, but you realize, if people just go into their tribes, if they just go into their territories and they don't take the time to understand what might be going on with someone, then that we're human beings. We rely on support and we rely on support systems, and then there's a stigma involved too sometimes, right?
Asking for help is a huge stigma, especially. And you need maybe some extra help when you have some kind of disability or some kind of illness, and that's okay. But we do want to break that down, and we do want to really own our stories and own who we are as individuals with illness and disability, and that we are all, like you said, just humans. Everyone's
That's
different.
right.
You have to celebrate that.
You maintain that sense of pride.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because your own self-worth begins to come in question, doesn't it?
Yeah, and the stigmas around chronic illness and disability, as much as we're going to own our story, we don't want the beliefs to be limiting. And you can accomplish anything no matter your condition. You just have to get creative sometimes and find a different alternative way of accomplishing a goal.
I've talked to people with sometimes with some severe disabilities, and when you see them just shine, I mean, it's inspirational. You know what I mean?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
And I think that that's such an important element. We would seek naturally, I believe, for support.
Yes.
And in that peer-to-peer relationships, you learn something about someone else. You might have something in common with them, but you also then begin, as I was saying before, to build your own self-worth. Do you find that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's a huge part of what we're offering and why we're having a really exciting upcoming event.
That was a great segue, by the way, because a lot of times I forget what I was supposed to do, and Andrew here has to remind me.
No.
But we do have an event coming up I want to tell you about. Again, as unique as the two people I'm talking to, it's art with heart and hope. Well, that's a really beautiful way to describe that. Tell me about the event.
So the event is on May 9th, and it is an exhibit for people with chronic illness or disability who use art to heal and to cope with their conditions. So the art will be on display. I believe we have 26 artists.
Wow.
And yeah, it's really exciting. And we've asked them to submit just a short explanation as to how their art has helped them cope and how it's helped them work beyond their illness.
So the artist, and the art also goes into poetry, right? Weren't you telling me
We
that
have a
also?
few poets
Right.
who have submitted their artwork as poetry that will be, displayed along, alongside paintings.
Right,
and-
right, of course. Now, and if I understand you correctly, those artists are also given an opportunity to speak about the relationship to their art and how that's helped them?
So the speaking really comes through the artist statement that Nell was
Yes.
talking about.
Oh,
That
okay.
piece that they've been asked to submit is a written
Got
artist
it.
statement
Okay.
that is displayed alongside their
Which
artwork.
everyone will be able to read
Yeah, sure.
alongside the art, and the artist
And then
will be
an
a display.
opportunity also to meet other people
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
who either have disabilities or coping with.
Or caregivers.
Yeah,
of.
caregivers, right?
Yeah.
I always think about caregivers too.
Yes.
So much is written about how caregivers, in a lot of ways, suffer more stress
Yeah.
Definitely.
than actually the person who has the infliction.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Right.
and that's a huge thing with Beyond My Battle is that studies show how detrimental stress can be to our physical health and our mental health. So we're just trying to offer alternative ways of managing your stress.
Boy, you know what? And stress is something we all feel. If you don't have a personal challenge like a disability or
Yeah.
something like that, doesn't mean that you don't suffer from
Absolutely.
stress.
Yep.
And just think about it for a second. We all suffer from stress. But what's it like when you have something additional to
Right.
be concerned about, to be worried about, not only for yourself, but your loved ones, your friends,
Yeah.
and all those kinds of support. The event's also taking place at a great place, the Spring Street Gallery, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
What's the address? Do you know that? Like 113 Spring or
It's
something?
110 Spring Street,
110 Spring.
and the event starts at 6 p.m. 6 p.m. It'll run to 9 p.m. and
Got
we're
it.
making a presentation at the event at 7:30. So for those coming, they
Got
great to
it.
be there around 7:30.
I always forget to ask this question too, and then people will stop me and say, "But you didn't say if there was catering or anything." So give me just the scope of the event. So it's
Yep.
6 to 9 p.m. Okay, and you've got
And there is
food,
catering,
and the
yep.
artists are there, and the exhibit is there. Oh, this sounds
Yep.
like a wonderful.
Yeah. Wine and beer,
yep.
food.
Oh, terrific. Okay. Now the money that you raise is going to go back into Beyond My Battle.
Yep.
Right? Okay.
Yes.
And those services that you're providing, I'm sure you're building on it. Give me a sense of where that goes. The funds that you raise.
Absolutely. So currently our services are based online. It started as a support group online, like I previously said, and
Yeah.
we've been building over the course of the last year our what's called an emotional e-toolkit. It's
nice.
essentially a toolbox that lives online filled with different accessible free tools that anyone anywhere, no matter what kind of condition they have or if they're the caretaker of someone living with an illness or disability, can access to learn how to reduce their stress. So whether it's through meditation or nature immersion, exercise, building strong relationships and learning how to communicate with your support system, we have this toolkit that explains the research that backs why it's really important, as well as delivers deliverables that are in the form of either activities or exercises that you can do in your own life. And we're building on that, as well as ebooks. We're creating a podcast, and who knows what will come afterwards.
Well, and the thing that underlies all of it, of course, is that you're building a community.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you build community, then people have the chance to talk to each other, hear each other, support each other, heal each other, right?
Exactly.
What a concept, right? Well, it's a real pleasure to meet both of you. This is a wonderful organization. Give you the details again. Beyond My Battle, there's a fundraiser, art with heart and hope, and it is on May 9th at the Spring Street Gallery, right in Saratoga. And I really encourage you. It's wonderful just to expose and be inclusive of what they're talking about, because it helps us all. And let's face it, that's what we're supposed to be doing.
Exactly.
Great. Well, no, it's a pleasure to meet you.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Martell, pleasure to meet you
Thanks, Jesse.
as well. Thanks.
Thanks.
See this interview again? You can head to our website, looktvonline.com.